How well do you think you understand the messages being shown to you by the media? Do you see videos only for face value, or do you understand how YouTubers craft their message to reach you in a more strategical way? I think most people have some level of understanding that there is more to YouTubers' videos than the content of the video alone. Many YouTubers are meticulously releasing content to steer their viewers in a direction that will lead them to more success. It's not as sinister as it sounds, and it's not some big conspiracy that YouTubers aren't as carefree as they want you to think. I just want people to have a deeper understanding of the media they consume, because without a media literate audience on YouTube, things will get worse than they have already become. I'm here to teach you about media literacy. Let me start by introducing you to the basics of mass communication. This will be the first episode in a series of videos meant to give you a better understanding of how media messages are created, how you receive them, and how you react to them. This will make you a more informed audience member, as well as teach you how to create a message of your own. I will focus specifically on YouTube as the channel of mass communication, but these same principles can be applied to television, radio, social media, all other forms of mass communication. There are 4 levels of communication: intrapersonal communication, communication with yourself, interpersonal communication, one-on-one conversations, group communication within a small community, and mass communication, which is communication across all society. Let's say you're feeling really suicidal and you think to yourself that you really want to just end it all. That's intrapersonal communication. Maybe you tell your best friend that you're having suicidal thoughts. That's interpersonal. And maybe you go to a support group and you share with everybody that you want to kill yourself. That's group communication. Lastly, if you post a meme on the Me IRL subreddit about how badly you want to kill yourself and it reaches the front page, that's mass communication. Alright, the elements of mass communication are as follow. There is the sender, the message, encoding, gatekeepers and regulators, channel, receiver, decoding, noise, and filters. As we will see later on, these elements are arranged in different ways to create models of communication. Let's look at how these elements are used to create an educational YouTube video, for example. Let's say I have an idea for a video. The first step is encoding, the process of turning my idea into a message. I write an outline, then a script, I record my voice, then I edit the video. I am the sender and the message is the information in my video. Now I want to upload it to YouTube. YouTube is obviously the channel, but they are also the gatekeepers because my videos must follow their terms of service and guidelines. Then you, the viewers, are receivers and to some extent regulators because you can report videos for not following the guidelines. You then decode the message by understanding what I set out for you to learn. Noise and other filters may prevent you from understanding my message. Noise is interference with the transmission of a message. This can be semantic noise, meaning you simply don't understand what I'm saying because you don't speak English. Mechanical noise, maybe your internet is slow and YouTube is buffering. And lastly, environmental noise. You might have someone talking in your ear while you're trying to watch, or someone's being noisy in the other room and you just can't hear what I'm saying. Other filters include informational filters, the lack of knowledge about the topic, physical filters, maybe you're distracted or you're using the video as background noise while you focus on something else, and psychological filters, you have a pre-existing attitude that is blocking you from listening to my message. You see that the most in politics. This model I created here is called the transmission model. I was trying to teach you something or transfer meaning. There are many more models than this, but these are the ones that I want to cover for now. The transmission model is meant to transfer a meaning, and it's meant for a cognizant audience, people who want to learn something. Offhand, I'm sure many of you know YouTubers like this. You got Vsauce, Numberphile, Smarter Every Day, Veritasium, The Brain Scoop, Wendover Productions, In a Nutshell, Nerdwriter1, the list goes on. In fact, I reached out to Wendover Productions to offer some insight into his career as an educational video maker. Here's what he has to say about his creative process.
The goal of each of my videos is to both entertain and educate. I think that you can do both at the same time, and I think that education should be entertaining, and I think you can also be entertaining when you educate. Topics are probably the most important step of the process because the topic is really everything. When I first started, I really wasn't good at thinking of topics, so I actually started a series called TWL, that Wikipedia list, where I used this Wikipedia list of unusual articles, and I would talk about one of them each episode. And that was mainly so I didn't spend as much time trying to find a topic, because at that time it was taking, a huge chunk of my video making time that I could have been better animating, better writing. But now that I'm doing research on stuff all the time, I always stumble upon a new topic and can fairly easily fill up my once every 2 week schedule with interesting topics. Deciding what's important to keep in the video, what information is important, is definitely an important step. If it's interesting, it's in. I've definitely put facts and stuff in a video that are interesting, even if they're not that applicable to what I'm explaining or what I'm teaching. But other than that, if there's something that needs to be in the video that's not that interesting to explain in order to explain the topic, I'm going to try to present it in a more interesting way. Other than that, what I try to keep out is negativity, political stuff, anything that's going to divide people. The structure of my scripts depends on the video. There are a lot of different structures that work. You can do chronological, that works if you're doing a history-based topic or something like that. You can also build upon each snippet of information. If you're teaching some, you have to explain something. You have to explain the first thing before you explain the second thing, so you can just build information. So, there's normally an intro, you gotta hook the viewer, say something interesting in the beginning. It's basically how you format an essay. You basically put clickbait at the beginning. You call it the hook to draw the viewer, draw the reader in, and then build upon that, explain, and then kind of conclude at the end, maybe include some interesting facts and bring it all back together. The great thing about YouTube is you have audience reaction immediately in the comments, on Twitter, on Reddit, everything. So it's a very two-way street. Audience feedback is really crucial. It's definitely made some changes in my channel. They talk about the fonts I use, the colors I use. The biggest change that they have helped with is my narration and the audio. I started out, if you look at my first couple of videos, my audio was terrible. I was using a $40 mic that was 5 years old, and it sounded horrible. It sounded like I was in a swimming pool, and I had a really monotone voice, tons of uptalk. They don't tend to criticize the visuals as much because they're it's hard to have bad visuals. It's easy to have better and better visuals. So those are kind of thing that I push myself on, trying to learn new techniques with animation and stuff. If you're interested, my channel is Wendover Productions. You can find it at www.youtube.com/Wendover Productions. I make educational video essays once every 2 weeks.
The ritual model puts audiences at the center of the equation. People who watch these videos are there for the shared experience. Think about Jacksfilm and his segment Yai. That show is a great example of the ritual model because thousands of people participate in giving Jack things to say in the next episode. I'm sure most of his viewers come back and answer the questions all the time. It's an amazing system, and most YouTubers tried to implement some level of participation in their videos. Next, we have the publicity model. This is where YouTube drama lives. This model refers to a message that isn't intended to convey specific information as much as it's trying to draw attention to a particular person, group, or concept. This is where we are right now with YouTube. A recent case is iDubbbz's Content Cop against Leafy. That was a clear move from iDubbbz to draw attention to himself because he had so much success doing it before to Jinx and Keemstar. I could make a whole episode about this model, but I'll save it for another day. Lastly, we have the reception model. This model focuses on how the audience derives a creative meaning out of media content. Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared is an example of this model because its meaning was left mostly hidden and the audience had to figure out what it meant for themselves. In politics, spin doctors use this model to assert their agenda on pieces of information gathered by the news media. YouTubers usually use a bit of each one of these models. The thing is, they don't necessarily know that they're doing this, but they still understand the concept behind it all. It's like a self-taught musician. He knows what sounds good and he can play things by ear, but he really doesn't know anything about music theory. He can still play just fine, but he doesn't have a deeper understanding of music, which makes it harder for him to write original songs. He can stumble up and down the fretboard looking for the notes he wants to hit by ear, or he could learn music theory and know exactly what note he is looking for. Music theory is more of a tool belt than a necessity, the same way media literacy is a tool for creators of messages. So what can you do with all this information? Content creators should learn about communication to make it easier for them to get what they want out of YouTube, the same way musicians should learn music theory to help them write songs. And that is my main goal for this series, to teach you what you need to know as an audience member as well as a creator. So do you consider yourself media literate? If all of this information I've given you sounded like common sense, then I'd say you are. But I'm only just getting started, so stick around if you want to learn more. Lastly, think about the content creators you watch and figure out what models they fall under. Just remember, not everyone falls under one of these 4 models. There are many, many more. Be sure to check back in a later time to see if I've uploaded more videos. I know I don't upload very often. I take a long time between my videos. It's not that my videos necessarily take forever to make. They kind of do, because I do put effort into them. But these videos are going to come out hopefully a little more frequently. And I will see you in the next video. See you later.